Alright guys, what's up? Tim here with Deep Depths Fishing Company, and today the first video that I'm actually going to do is me painting my custom jig heads. I've seen a lot of videos online about how to do it, and I think it's a pretty cool, neat little hobby that I have, in addition to selling it locally to some of the local places around me. But just so you can see, come on, get in focus. The light is not that great, but these are some of the speckled ones I do. And then I also do custom just colors. But yeah, so this is going to be kind of an intro to how I do it. It's super easy, and I encourage people to do this on their own if they're serious fishermen or they're just looking for something to do that has to do with another hobby that they have. So right off the bat, I will basically walk you through all the tools that I use and kind of the procedure that I follow to do it. Afterwards, I'll have the GoPro mounted, and then I'll actually show you guys how I do it. So first things first, in case you weren't aware, the paint that is typically used on these lures is a powder coat, but it's a powder coat specific to fishing lures. So I get these blank Tamora, there it is, and you can get them in a bunch of different sizes, basically the hook size, and they look like this when there's no paint on them, so it's just the lead. And then after, essentially, you take a heat source. I use a Bernzomatic, I believe it's, I don't know what type of gas is in this one. Regardless, what you'll do is you basically click a couple times until you see the surface of the lure get a little bit more shiny, and we'll go through it and you'll see it later. But it also takes a little bit of practice, because if you put too much heat on them, what ends up happening is they actually melt, and you basically have to toss that one because you can't remold it. So you'll heat it up. What I do is I have a pair of vice grips, tighten it down a little bit, put the hook all the way at the very end, close it down, and then I essentially hold it in the vice grips while I blast it with heat, just like that. So once that's done, what you'll do is you will take your paint. So the paint that I use is ProTech powder paint. You can find them on Amazon pretty cheap, and you can get like color packs and everything. These are what the labels look like right on it, made for lures. So I have neon orange, neon pink, I also have neon yellow, neon green, and then I also have black. Come on, focus, there we go. And in this little baggie, I have some that I've done already, mostly yellow, pink, and black. There's a couple orange ones in the back too. But again, it's something you can experiment with, right? You can, for instance, if you mess it up, basically all you have to do is blast it with heat, let that powder coat kind of melt a little bit, and then it basically dries. So I guess I should actually talk to you about how you actually get the powder coat on. So like I said before, we'll have the hook in the vice grip like this. If it decides to focus, come on. There we go. Alright, so you'll have it in there. Ahead of time, there are some people who go crazy and they have these little aerating machines. However, all you do, you shake the powder coat. You actually want it to fluff up a little bit, right? And then, once that's done, You can go about 4 or 5 lures with it before you have to mix it up again. And the settling time, I would say 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, if you haven't done it already, I would do it again. But you'll blast it with heat. You'll literally just dunk it, swirl it really quick, and then I'll tap off excess on the side of the container. After that, you basically let it dry, and then once it's dried, which takes about 5 minutes as well, you put it into an oven or some type of baking source. I have a small little toaster oven that I use. You bake it at 350 for what I've found is 15 minutes works the best. If you bake it for any higher or at a higher temperature, what happens is it can actually melt the powder coat and it drips off of it, and then it looks pretty bad. But we will we'll actually get into making the lures, so stick around. Alright, so I actually have my GoPro on, you can probably see it, and here we are, right? So we have our Protect powder paint. We're basically going to be doing more of these pink guys here with the black speckles. So over here, I kind of prep, you know, dropping these on by pulling the tray out. Once I have enough to fill in, like maybe 5 or 6, then I'll slide it in, or, you know, I could fit a ton on there if I really wanted to. But let's get started. So I'm not going to use any of these right now. It's kind of hard for some of those other paints to actually show up, especially if you have like a bright, like neon pink, essentially. So we're going to shake our pink, we're going to shake our black, and then what we're going to do is we're going to uncap it. And I don't know if you can tell, but the pink is very, basically it aerated itself, right? So we're going to set up our paint like this. I'm actually going to bring the the pink a little bit closer. So then what we do is we're going to take our lure, which I have on these vice grips, and then we are going to blast. Let me do this really quick. We're going to bring you up just a tad bit. Yeah, you can see some of my other stuff that I have over here that I use for painting like hard baits. But, alright, so we have our jig head, we have our heat source, and we have it in vice grips. So basically all I'm going to do is blast it and kind of rotate it around so we evenly heat it. I figure like 6 quick little blasts will normally do it. And what we do, take it, dip it, tap it off, and you can see, I'll bring it up here. It's kind of got bumps on it, but that's okay, because what we can do, take our heat source again, blast it a couple times, it actually gets all those air pockets out. And then one of the most important things you have to do is you have to, excuse me as I reach, but you have to poke out the eyelets before you cure it, or else it'll be almost impossible. So I'm going to bring this kind of close. It'll probably actually be better on this screen. But if you can see where the eyelet is, it's almost completely, well, it is completely filled. So what I do is I have a safety pin that I use. I will go in, let it sit for a second, poke it. You can kind of see it pushes up off of the other side. Let it cool a little bit more, and then I just pull it back out. It flips off, and now our eyelet is completely good. And then I'll actually look at the other side, because what happens is it pushes all the powder coat out and it kind of looks like crap. So in any case, I'll basically hit it a couple more times And now it's looking good. So you'll notice also that the powder coat will go up a little bit onto the hook itself. Big whoop. They're custom made lures, right? They're not, or jig heads, sorry. They're not made in a factory. You're not going to get it perfect. If you took your time, then you will probably be able to knock it on the hook, but I think it actually kind of helps blend a little bit better. But that's just a personal opinion. So now, to actually, get like a speckled effect, right? All you have to do is you will take, whatever color you want to go over it with, right? So in this instance, we're going to use black. You take any, paintbrush essentially, right? So you go in, it holds really well on the paintbrush until you start to tap it. And then you can get all of it out of the paintbrush literally just by tapping it. So you got to be careful. What you're going to do is you're going to take your heat source again, blast it a couple times, get it nice and shiny again. And then you take your paintbrush, you go in, and then you basically just tap some on there. Again, this also isn't going to be perfect, but they're handmade. They're yours. And you can tell at some point you're actually not going to get any more to stick. So what you do, heat source again. Blast it a couple times, get it shiny. Like for instance, this side, kind of want to hit a little bit more. And tap, tap. Tap. Boom. So then, one more time, blast it. Make sure you get that clear coat to actually settle in. If you're not careful, you can actually burn the clear coat as well. It actually turns like brown. But once you can see that the speckle color or the secondary color that you're doing is also shiny, you're good. So then I'll just go over here very carefully. Basically just do one of those numbers and it's good. And that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on there. I'm going to make probably 5, 6, 7 more. And then I will show you the baking process. Alright guys, so I am back and I did 8 more lures. I did a couple of the pink and black ones and then I actually did some green and black ones. Same patterns for each color. So there are 4 different patterns that I chose. The first one is basically the base color, so either yellow or pink. And then I sprinkled some black powder coat over it, gave it a cool speckled effect. The next one is basically like a tiger stripe pattern almost, where I did the base coat and then I dipped it in black and then I dipped it in base coat again and then I did the very end in black. The green one actually turned out a little bit better. The third one that I did for each was I did a base coat of black and then I actually did the like sprinkle of color for each of them. So sprinkle of pink and then a sprinkle of green. I think again the green one turned out a little bit better. The pink is kind of hard to see against the black. And then the last one I did was just the base color for each of them with no design. So pretty cool. Now the next most important part honestly is the cure. So you let them dry completely and then what you do, like I said earlier, is you bake them. And essentially that's just kind of melting the powder coat but then also hardening it. And you'll notice that prior to you doing that, they're kind of dull looking. There's a little bit of shine to them. But once they're fully cured, they're hard as a rock and they're very shiny. So we're going to throw them in to the oven at 350 degrees for 15 minutes. And this is going to take a little bit of trial and error, but what I found is once my oven is completely cooled, I set it to 350 take it to on, and then that's when my 15 minutes starts. And I get the perfect cure every time. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so here we go. Here's the toaster oven that I use. It is some brand, couldn't honestly tell you, probably Cuisinart or something, but literally got it for 10 bucks off Facebook Marketplace. People are getting rid of these all the time, and the setup is actually perfect for curing these. Perfect little rack to set it right in the middle of the oven and then slide it in and out pretty easily. So you'll see over here I have my different dials. I already have it set to 350. Then there's this random function one that I set to bake, because that's pretty much what you have to do. And the last one is the on and off button, and then it also has like some toast feature. But all I'm going to do is slide this in carefully, making sure they don't slide together. You don't really want them touching. Once you're in the baking process, shut it. It is Cuisinart, so I got that. So again, I already have it set to 350, set to bake, and then all I'm going to do is take this to on. For some reason it clicks, but that light came on, and now we are going to wait 15 minutes. Alright guys, so our 15 minutes are up. All I'm going to do right now is turn it off. Alright, and I'm essentially going to just let them sit and cool off a little bit more in the oven. What I'll also do is I'll also open it just to get some of the heat out a little bit faster. But as you can see, no drips, which is exactly what we want. And you can tell already just how shiny those jig heads are, which means that our powder coat set and hardened exactly the way we want it. So I'm gonna let these cool down, and then I'm gonna prop them out and get some shots of them and wrap the video up. So as you guys can see, they came out phenomenal. The contrast between these neon colors with some black in it looks absolutely stunning. You could even get a little bit more wild and throw some extra bright colors on there. Although I haven't tried that yet, it might clash a little bit and you might lose some of the other colors in it. But with a base coat of black, I think that would look absolutely incredible. Again, there's so many things you can do with this, and it's so easy once you get the hang of it. I hope you guys learned something from the video. More importantly, if you're interested, please like, please subscribe. Let me know what else you guys want to see me do. If there's certain color schemes you want or certain designs you think I should try, just let me know in the comments. But that is going to be it for me today. Once again, I'm Tim with Deep Depths Fishing Company. I hope you learned something, and I hope you have a phenomenal day.